Little Ava was 2 and her sister May was 1 when they passed in the early 1900s. It wasn't until April 12, 1955 before the first polio vaccine was licensed. Charles Bain was only 5 years old when he passed in the late 1800s. Not until 1962 did John F. Kennedy sign the Vaccine Assistance Act into law, which allowed nationwide vaccination to all children. This baby passed in 1892, 65 years before the Federal Immunization Grant Program. Even then, only vaccinations for DTP, polio, and smallpox were available. Little Darwin here was only 1 year old when he passed. A full 40 years before the CDC announced their first measles eradication campaign, which resulted in 90% fewer cases of measles. Baby Marilyn passed just 5 years before the MMR was licensed. The meningitis vaccine wasn't licensed for another 74 years after this baby passed. The pneumonia vaccine was licensed a full 72 years after this little baby had left the earth. Infant daughter passed in 1926, a full 52 years before the yellow fever vaccine was even available. Frankie Bondurant passed in 1872 at the age of 3. That's a full 107 years before the last cases of wild type 1 polio were reported. John F. Kennedy worked for a vaccinated and healthy population. Now his nephew, RFK Jr., is working to destroy that. A new study finds that 6% of parents in America are skipping vaccinations because of conspiracy theories from a roided out former heroin addict. The reason our cemeteries are no longer filled with little ones like this, because modern medicine and science take away a lot of the ailments that take away our 2-year-olds. Stop listening to wackadoos and trust your pediatricians. I'm starting to think that RFK Jr. has stock in baby caskets.